Who would think this beautiful remote bay held one of the greatest secrets of World War?
Few years living and working in two of the busiest cities in the world. But will any of our properties seal the deal?
I thought the kitchen was bright. This is really bright. I mean, it's just gorgeous, isn't it?
So far, I think it's working very nicely.
It is picture perfect.
Today I'm in Dorset, and this is the glorious tourist magnet of Studland Bay, renowned for its wildlife and tranquil beaches. Not quite so peaceful, though, back in April 1944, when Operation Smash, code name for the so-called dress rehearsal of the D-Day landings in Normandy, was in full swing. A bunker was built to ensure the safety of dignitaries who were watching the proceedings. Just a few weeks later, on the 6th of June 1944, the Allied invasion of Europe was finally launched on the beaches of Normandy. And despite the great sacrifices of those men that lost their lives on that day, many more may have perished without the experience and training they received here on the shores of Studland Bay.
The county of Dorset sits in the southwest of England, and its neighbours include Devon, Somerset and Wiltshire. The coastline, which borders the English Channel, is generally formed of high cliffs interspersed by undulating valleys. It boasts the highest point on the entire south coast, Golden Cap, just east of Charmouth and part of the world-famous Jurassic Coast. The low-lying coastal area includes the seaside town of Weymouth, which has been a draw for tourists since King George III holidayed there on 14 separate occasions. A statue was erected in 1810 to honour his patronage. Just south of Weymouth, the limestone Isle of Portland rises up over Chisel Beach, offering panoramic views across the south of the county. Inland, Dorset's rural scenery has provided inspiration for some of Britain's best-loved novelists, including Thomas Hardy and Enid Blyton, whose famous 5 stories were said to be based in and around the village of Corfe Castle on the Isle of Purbeck. With its rural charm and unspoiled beauty, it's no surprise visitors and house buyers are so drawn to this appealing part of the country.
If you want to live within close proximity to these outstanding landscapes and iconic landmarks, you should expect to pay a premium, as the average price of a detached home here in Dorset is £319,000. Now that's around £53,000 above the national average. Prices get even steeper if you're thinking of living by the coast, with Sandbanks ranking the second most expensive seaside town to live in the UK. However, purchasing a coastal property could be considered an investment, as property prices in seaside towns have almost doubled in the past decade. So, let's find out who today's buyers are and why they've decided that Dorset is the destination they're hoping to escape to.
David and Tracy have been married for 13 years and currently live in a 3-bedroom cottage in Ealing, West London. Having recently sold their skincare business, the appeal of living in the capital is fading.
I've always said with London, and I really believe this with anything, I think everyone should experience it. I think it's absolutely the best thing I've ever done. I moved here when I was 24, came from Cornwall, so I'm actually a country girl at heart anyway. I remember in the early years, I was actually excited. I have to say, I don't feel that now, and I think therefore that I would say it's definitely my time to move on.
David has a son and daughter from his previous marriage and 2 grandchildren, and their current property just isn't large enough to entertain their family and friends.
Even though there's just the 2 of us, we actually want a lot more space, because we've got a lot of family that could join us and live with us part-time, if you like, and we haven't got the space here to do that.
Even dining is difficult, more than 4 people. It feels quite cramped, actually, and I think, like probably some people of our sort of years that when we want to downsize, we want to actually upsize.
Tracy first fell in love with Dorset during a memorable childhood holiday, and for David, the county fulfills his desire to be close to the coast, but still within reach of London.
We've always had this thing about going to the seaside and living closer to the sea. I mean, we don't need to be on the beach or anything like that, but we need to be close to the seaside. I think Dorset, for me, just seems to tick all the boxes. We've been there many, many times. Very relaxed, very chilled.
People say hello to you. Good morning and good evening. It's quite a shock. Living in London, you get a bit of
abuse.
Yeah, that's right. And you go down there and everyone's really friendly.
Before London, the couple spent a number of years living and working in Venice Beach, Los Angeles. The outdoors way of life has rubbed off on them, and it's something they're keen to replicate in Dorset.
After 3.5 years of living in California, I had blonde hair, I had a suntan, I almost spoke the lingo. But after being there for a while, and I think you just get into that lifestyle, and I was really into my cycling. I used to cycle to work and back 10 miles a day, and I loved it.
We're very into our walking, and it's not uncommon for us to walk, 10, 12 miles, stop off and have lunch, of course, in the pub or a pub. That's one of our passions, actually, exercise.
After a grueling couple of years building up the business, they're looking forward to relaxing.
Change is always really frightening, so don't think this is a light, casual thing. You take a long time, and I think probably the last 2 years we have worried about where our business is going. I already feel happier, and I know this sounds really strange, but work's been so intense. We're not going to be working together, and I'm actually quite looking forward to that, just having a normal life.
David and Tracy would like to be fairly close to the coast, within 20 minutes by car and not far from Dorchester, so we're concentrating our property search in the south of the county. With their London house now under offer, I'm meeting up with them in Bedminster to find out more about their prospective move.
Well, David and Tracy, welcome to Dorset.
Thank you very much.
I thought we'd have our chat inside because it's a little bit grey this morning, but I'm feeling confident the weather's going to improve over the next few hours. But you're unusual because you're moving to the country, moving away from a big city, but you're not downsizing, are you?
No.
You're
We're upsizing, yeah.
I think you're the first couple I've ever had that are upsizing.
I think the word I keep using is breathe, because I think London feels quite intense to me, and I just want to have this space that we can really kind of breathe, light and airy and spacious, and have our friends and family as well, because they're very important to us.
One of the other things that we lost our dog a few months ago, and we're dog lovers, and we want to get a couple of dogs, and of course we're waiting to get into our new house to do that.
So tell me then, the house, the dream property, what are you looking for?
4 bedrooms as a minimum, spacious and light. So I don't think either of us want any kind of darkness, if you like, really. This is where we probably divide, because David would go contemporary and very modern and minimalistic all the way. I'd be happy with that on the inside, but on the outside an older property. Don't want to be on top of our neighbours. And definitely not thatched, even though I like the look of it. It's not something that we'd want to take on.
Whatever we see, if it's the right thing for us, then it's going to be the right thing.
So remind me of your budget.
Oh, Tracy, you like talking about the numbers.
£875,000.
And is there any flexibility on that?
Less than.
Well, let's see how we get on. We'll finish our tea and coffee, and I think we should hit the road.
Thank you.
Very
Fantastic.
good.
For a very generous budget of £875,000, David and Tracy would like a detached, light and spacious property. As far as style goes, they'd prefer an older shell with a modern interior, but thatched roofs are a no-no. They're after 4 bedrooms for when family and friends come to stay. And finally, they'd like to be within reasonable distance of the sea and hope to get a dog, so the garden should be enclosed. Over the next couple of days, David and Tracy will see 3 delightful Dorset homes that we've lined up for them, and we'll keep them guessing on price until the end of each tour. Our final property, the Mystery House, could leave our buyers clutching at straws. We're starting off our property shopping in the hamlet of Langdon Long. It's a 1.5 miles away from the historic market town of Blandford Forum. The original town was destroyed by a fire in 1731 and rebuilt shortly afterwards by renowned architects and surveyors, the Bastard Brothers. And today Blandford Forum is a Georgian architectural time capsule. Notable buildings include the Corn Exchange, and there are numerous independent shops surrounding the marketplace. The quiet hamlet of Langdon Long, the location of our first property, is a 3-minute drive out of the town and stands on the estate of a former mansion house.
So, here is our first property.
Fantastic views
Amazing
of
views.
the countryside. Look at that.
So the house was built in the early 1960s, and the land all around here is part of the Langton estate. Even though you've got neighbours either side of you, you're not overlooked.
No, it feels very secluded, which is lovely.
Yeah,
and it's in its own sort of area as well, isn't it? So got a nice driveway.
It is really beginning to rain now, so shall we start the tour?
Indeed, yes.
The house has been stylishly refurbished in the last few years and extended to the rear with an emphasis on reducing its energy bill. The property's green credentials include solar and PV panels and an air source heat pump, providing near zero running costs.
So you've got a large hallway, but I wanted to start off with the kitchen first.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Very stylish. Love the units, lots of space for cooking, which is something I want to start doing a lot more of.
You've got all this space. Cleverly, they've put in a sort of study area there, which is all incorporated, the same units. And through that door, you've got a massive utility room, plus a walk-in larder. But this kitchen leads us to this glass room.
Incredible.
Oh,
Isn't it amazing?
hugely spacious, isn't
Look
it?
at the staircase.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, it's fantastic. Look at the view. I love it. It's so, in some ways, some of it's surprising me because you wouldn't expect to have this very modern, you know,
Extension.
metal extension. You just wouldn't expect that, would
No, you
you?
wouldn't, no,
it feels
no.
like a house that's been really loved, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, you just get that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
In addition to the kitchen breakfast space and the glass garden room, there's a further reception room, a cosier option at the front of the house. Upstairs there are 4 bedrooms, including a good-sized guest room and 2 singles. But the smallest leads onto a huge study area above the glass room. Then there's the master.
Oh, how lovely.
Very nice.
Lovely lights in it, Mary. Nice fitted wardrobes, very important.
Huge wardrobes.
Lots of room, lots of
Every
clothes.
lady and some gentlemen.
And an even better view from the window here.
Not only is it quite a large room, but you also have, you look just over your shoulder, you've got an ensuite as well.
Right. So far, I think it's working very nicely. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's looking very
That's
good. I
good.
mean, it's very impressive what we've seen so far.
Good. Well, I'm thrilled, and I think you're going to be just as impressed with the garden as well.
The well-maintained garden is large and fully fenced, so ideal for a dog. There's also a vegetable patch, and at the front of the property an old well tower, now converted into a useful outhouse, and a garage which is integral to the house.
So, first house, first guess the price. How much do you think it's on the market for?
I'm thinking 790,000, that sort of range.
I actually think it's a bit less than that, so I think £750,000.
The asking price, Tracy, you're practically on the money. £749,500.
Wow. That's well under your budget.
It's well under your budget.
Yes, very much so, yeah.
And the
Excellent.
owners do really want to move. They're relocating to another part of the country. This house recently was marketed just under 800,000, and they've just dropped the price by £50,000. So you were pretty close to, in actual fact, but you're practically on the money. So that leaves you way over £100,000 to play with. Do you fancy having another one, but this time on your own?
Yeah, we'd
Yeah,
like
be
to do
good.
that.
Please do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, a great start with our first property. They're not giving too much away. Tracy's a little bit more honest. David is quite reserved, isn't he? But they both seem to love it. And so much under their budget. What a great way to start this tour of beautiful Dorset.
Under budget by £125,000, our first property, a 1960s conversion, offers David and Tracy the light and spacious rooms they wanted, a contemporary interior with that stylish glass room, a dog-friendly garden, and 4 bedrooms.
It's very bright and airy and spacious and is really very much along the lines of what we're looking for.
I didn't expect to see a conservatory such as this. It really is astonishingly good. And the views over the hills are just amazing. And the fact that the pricing is somewhat less than what I was expecting, that's a positive sign as well.
How are you both feeling?
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
What a great start.
Good.
Thank you.
Seem to enjoy that tour.
It was very, very good. Thank you very much.
Only the first house got more to show you as well.
As keen hikers, David and Tracy couldn't have chosen a better spot to move to, with the southwest coast path running close to their future doorstep. Rated as one of the top walks in the world, part of the 630-mile path runs along the renowned Jurassic coast, so called because of the extensive geology exposed in its rocky cliffs. Parts of it date back over 185 million years, and sections of the coast are a hotbed for fossil hunters. We sent David and Tracy to meet a man who has made it his career to uncover Dorset's secret geological treasures. They're meeting fossil expert Paul Crossley.
Welcome to Stonebarrow Hill in Charmouth, in West Dorset, and from here you can see all of Charmouth behind us. You can see right the way down the coast to the little town of Lyme Regis, and if you look behind us you can see all the way down the coast to the Isle of Portland.
So what would this area have been like 200 million years ago?
Well, 200 million years ago this would have been a shallow tropical sea, so all this that we're stood on now would have been underwater. And if you look along the cliffs here, all these cliffs in fact would have been underwater as well, so quite deep, but what we class as a shallow tropical sea.
And what kind of creatures would have been living in this water?
Quite a diverse array of life. We've got the marine reptiles called ichthyosaurs, similar shape to a dolphin. Obviously the ammonites that all the children assimilate with fossils. We had primeval jellyfish, and of course we had fish and sharks. What we'll do is we'll take you down onto the beach and we'll give you a better idea of what it is that you can expect to see when we're out fossiling.
This section of Dorset coast was the stomping ground of Britain's greatest fossil hunter, Mary Anning, who lived just along the beach at Lyme Regis. In the 19th century, her discoveries, including the first complete ichthyosaur, shook the scientific world at a time when most accepted the biblical creation story. Today, the rocks along the same stretch of coast reveal new specimens on a daily basis.
I brought you down to Blackven Beach to show you the cliff face here behind us, and you can see all the individual layers running up through the cliff face. It's these layers that we're getting the fossils from, such as the ammonites that I was explaining earlier on, and I've got a model of one here. This shows you what an ammonite would have looked like in life.
Yeah, so very much like a snail and then a squid's head.
Yeah, this is what they actually look like when we find them. Coiled shell, and what we do is we polish some of them to reveal the chambers inside.
That's amazing.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take us a little bit further down the beach and hopefully we'll go and find a few pieces like this for you.
Okay, look forward to doing it.
The cliffs of Blackven Beach are made of porous limestone and clay. When the clay becomes saturated after heavy rain, the cliffs are subject to large landslides. Although care must be taken, you can often find newly displaced fossils that have been hidden for hundreds of millions of years. And providing you don't actually dig into the cliff face to find them, any fossil on the beach is fair game. It's not long before David and Tracy stumble across a possible find.
I don't know whether you think this is something quite special or not?
Well, it's certainly the right type of limestone, and yes, sticking out here we've got a little calcite crystal ammonite called Promicrocerus. Well, unfortunately nothing else in the stone, but what we have done is we've exposed a little bit more of the outer edge of the ammonite there, and that's the original shell at the bottom.
I see,
So
yes,
that's
yes,
the fossil, and this is the infill, the calcite that's developed over millions of years. But nice piece for you to take home, calcite crystal ammonite. Not everybody gets to take one of those home.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Excellent.
Thank you. We really
Brilliant.
value that.
Our intrepid house hunters have acquired a fine relic from their fossil finding trip, but we still need to unearth a house for them here in Dorset, so it's back to the property search. For our second house, we're heading south towards the coast and to the hamlet of Creech Bottom. Nearby Wareham, a 6-minute drive away, provides amenities for the surrounding villages. Sitting on the banks of the River Frome, the Saxon town is affectionately known as the gateway to the Purbeck Peninsula. The focal point is the town's quayside, which hosts a weekly market and is home to a couple of pubs. Our second house sits in a quiet rural location a few miles outside Wareham and was built as the foreman's cottage for the nearby railway.
This is very nice. So,
Our second property, we brought you to, well, practically the coast. The cliffs are 2 miles up the road, And you said you wanted to be close to the sea.
Yes, absolutely.
And here it is.
Wow.
House number 2.
Beautiful.
So quite a substantial property. It has been extended out the back. So the original house is the part that we're looking at, built in the Georgian style, but actually it only dates back to about 1910. Right, well, I think we should start, don't you?
Oh, that sounds good.
Absolutely.
The coastal location of our second house should satisfy David, and the facade of the property should fulfil Tracy's desire for an older frontage. But will the interior prove modern, light and spacious enough for our buyers?
Now, the way the house is set up at the moment, you walk straight into the dining area, but I'm going to call this the reception area because there's a lot of space in this property and you might not choose to have a dining room here.
Lovely. Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
But this is a great sort of welcoming area when your guests come to stay. And of course, where's the first place you're going to take them? Into the kitchen. Now, plenty of space here. And I think you can see, can't you, where the extension comes into play.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing.
So, the way it's been laid out, you've got this very large, at the moment, because it's a family that lives here, it's a study area with a real fire. And you've got this huge open plan kitchen, again, with dining space.
Just one room leads to another. It's so light and airy as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
The floor as well.
The floor is fantastic.
But you've also got this room next door.
Oh, this is lovely.
An additional room for you.
I thought the kitchen was bright. This is really bright. I mean, it's just gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's early days. I haven't showed you everything. But what sort of feeling are you getting as you walk around this second property?
I'm liking this a lot, actually.
Enough room for family, grandchildren?
I think so, absolutely. I mean, there's more to see yet, but yeah, just the space here alone, you can see lots of opportunity.
Well, it seems we've won over Tracy, but David is keeping his cards close to his chest. The ground floor also provides a sitting room with an open fireplace. Upstairs, there are 4 generous bedrooms arranged off a central landing. One would make an excellent guest room, as it comes with an ensuite, and there are 2 smaller rooms overlooking the front of the property. There's also a separate family bathroom, and the master is at the back.
You've got an ensuite.
Nice, beautiful size.
Yeah, good size, yeah.
Really lovely.
Now,
Fantastic view.
you can see the view, and you might wonder, why are there a set of doors there leading out to nothing? When planning permission was given, it was included to have a balcony, but because the current owners are moving, they didn't finish putting the balcony up.
Right.
So if you wanted to, you could put that back in. I'm going to take you outside now.
Okay.
So our buyers may need to keep some money back to complete the renovations and put their stamp on the property. The house sits in an acre plot with a large rear garden, mainly lawned, and already partially enclosed by a dog-proof fence.
I think it's always great when you show somebody around the house and you leave a little bit up your sleeve for the end. Behind us, we have quite a large chalet. In there's electricity, there's a toilet. That could make fantastic retreat, perhaps for your grandchildren when they're a little bit older. Television in there, everything, games, whatever you want. And then, of course, we can't forget the actual space that we're standing in.
Right.
How much do you think this is on the market for?
Well, I think 755, that sort of range.
Okay.
And I think 720.
You're both out by quite a lot of money. The asking price is, and this is unusual the way it's worded, but it's offers in excess of £835,000.
I think we're quite
I'm shocked by it, really.
shocked at that, really.
Yeah, it's high, I would say.
You are looking at a premium because we're in the Purbeck region.
It's the second day of our property search, and armed with a generous budget of £875,000, we're helping former skincare business owners David and Tracy from West London find a new rural home here in Dorset. Coming up at the Mystery House, Tracy struggles to keep her emotions in check.
I remember when I was a little girl going to a village with my mum and saying, this is the kind of house I want to live in when I'm big.
And I meet the Dorset coppice worker who's branching out.
How's that?
Looking very good. I think I might again just tidy it up slightly, but
Yesterday, I think we got off to a good start with David and Tracy. Both our houses were well received, but the price was a surprising factor with the home close to the sea. However, we do have one more property to show them. This time, it's our mystery house. Now, they like the idea of open plan, they want space for a home to flow on the inside. All well and good, but first impressions on the exterior? Well, this one might prove interesting. David, you've sold your property, you know, this is crunch time.
Well, it is. No, I mean, once the deal fully goes through, we're ready to rock and roll, absolutely. So we're at the cusp of deciding our next new property, and that's one of our objectives today.
So driving along towards the mystery house, is your mind full of wonder or dread?
It's definitely full of wonder. I'm sure everything is going to be fine. We're really looking forward to seeing it.
For our final house choice, we're heading inland to the hamlet of Winterbourne Muston. Just 3 miles up the road is the larger village of Bear Regis, which featured in several novels of Thomas Hardy, most famously in Tess of the D'Urbervilles, in which the village was known as Kingsbear. At the start of our house search, David and Tracy had closed the book on thatched properties, but I have a feeling the mystery house may provide a twist in the tale.
And our final offering is the mystery house.
It is picture perfect, isn't it? I mean, it is gorgeous. Look
Very
at the
lovely.
lovely windows.
Yeah.
You two are remarkable. The one thing you said when I first met you was, we don't want that. And even you're
It doesn't mean that I don't like the style of it, because I do. It's
Yeah.
beautiful,
Very
isn't it? How
stylish.
could you not like thatched housing?
It is thatched. It is our mystery house. But what's inside is so beautiful. We think it's worth a consideration. And you probably wouldn't have thought of looking at this yourselves, is the truth, would you?
No, I don't
probably
think
not,
we would have
no.
done. No. I think this is the kind of house, you know, you imagine. I'm a bit tearful, actually, because it is. I remember when I was a little girl going to a village with my mum and seeing a house like this with the roses and everything and saying, this is the kind of house I want to live in when I'm big. Oh, it's amazing.
Can you have a look?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
David and Tracy's reservations about thatch, like many, centred on the replacement costs. But our mystery property was rethatched with Chinese waterweed a few years ago, which has a lifespan of about 50 years. The cottage dates to the 16th century and, unusually for a building of its age, is not listed. The rear has been extended, providing a side entrance to the property.
So, step inside your kitchen.
Who expects a kitchen like this in a thatched cottage? It is fantastic.
That's
isn't
very impressive.
it? So stylish. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
So as you come into the cottage, actually we come through the extension, which was done I think about 7 years ago. So you've got a utility room and storage. So the kitchen's given us a bit of the wow factor straight away.
Yeah, definitely.
It's lovely. It feels amazing.
And you might have noticed that door, full of character. That would have been the original door. Now leads us onto the extension. So let's go through. Well, at the moment it's a dining room, but it would make a fantastic sitting room stroke office.
I think a sitting room would work here really nicely off that area.
So far, could you imagine yourself living in a property like this?
No, I think we could.
I definitely know that we could. Yeah,
Could you?
For sure.
Despite our buyer's initial qualms about thatched houses, the mystery property, with its light open-plan interior, natural oak floors and original features, seems to have tugged at the heartstrings. Just beyond the kitchen diner is the final reception room on the ground floor.
Here is your sitting room. Wow, this is incredible, isn't
It is incredible.
Look at that wall.
Didn't expect to see this.
That is, if there's one thing I would love apart from this house, is that fireplace with the slate.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Go on.
Speak.
Have we taken
it's
your breath
fantastic.
away?
It is. It's really amazing. That is so contemporary. It's better. It's a feature, isn't it? It is a wow, definitely.
This house has already proved to be, very different to everything else we've seen.
Yeah.
And quite spectacular.
And just on another level, really.
Upstairs there are 5 bedrooms, one more than they asked for. 4 of those are doubles and there's one single, all in the older part of the house. There's also a family bath and shower room with exposed beams, and the master is in the newer extension.
So, master bedroom, underfloor heating,
Yeah.
Very good.
and also in the ensuite.
Nice.
Nice.
What a treat.
Do you want to have a little
No
look?
cold feet.
Go on.
in the morning.
Have a little look inside. Go on, David. I think you should.
All right.
Oh, this is lovely.
Oh, look at the shower as well.
Oh, beautiful, isn't
David,
it?
you're not meant to be in the shower.
No, but it's so nice.
Also, what I do want to point out is you've got a walk-in wardrobe there as well. So you're keen to have a look at outside now?
Indeed.
We are.
The cottage sits in half an acre of gardens which are low maintenance and mainly laid to lawn. Within the grounds there's also a garage and timber summer house.
I love it. There's nothing I don't like about it. I really, really do think it's picture perfect.
We've got to put a price on it. So how much do you think the asking price is on the cottage?
Well, I think Tracy should go first this time.
What a gentleman.
£820,000.
And I think 790.
And do you think that's a reasonable price to pay for a cottage like this?
I think so. In this area, yeah.
The asking price for the mystery house, well, it's offers in excess of £695,000.
Wow.
I'm so shocked, given how much work they've done and the state that it's in. They've just thrown us away. I can't believe it. That's incredible, isn't it? Are you shocked at that?
Yeah, I'm very shocked. Say again. Just confirm that number.
Offers in excess? £695,000.
695,000. Wow.
You said when you were a little girl, you and your mum looked at a thatched cottage and you thought, that's where I'm going to live when I'm older. Well, why don't you step back through those doors with David, have another look around and see if that dream might come true?
I think we should.
I think we should. Thank you.
Thank you.
Under budget by £180,000, the price of our mystery house comes as a bit of a shock, but in a good way. It's a 450-year-old thatched cottage which has been renovated and extended to give it a contemporary feel. It provides David and Tracy with one more bedroom than they asked for, a light and spacious interior, and a large garden suitable for dogs.
Thatch was not on our agenda at all, and in fact we've avoided thatch houses up to now. But having seen what we've seen today, it's astonishing. We really do need to sit down and consider our options.
I think the dichotomy of our search has always been old versus new, and can you mix the two, and trying to find a property that actually works for both myself and David in terms of our styling. So it was a really pleasant surprise when we walked in to see just how beautifully it had been converted. It's fantastic, and I love it.
There we go. Finished. You've seen our mystery house. Well, you've seen all of our properties here in Dorset.
We have.
Yes, thank you very much.
We've been very, very pleasantly surprised, particularly with this one.
Good.
Yes.
Well, let's go somewhere. Sun's still shining. Have a cup of tea and mull over your options.
Yeah, thank you.
Dorset has remained a rural county since the days of Thomas Hardy in the 19th century. The Industrial Revolution largely bypassed the county, which in turn allowed rural crafts to flourish. I've come to Brenscombe Wood on the Isle of Purbeck to meet a woodsman who manages a 45-acre site and in his spare time teaches green woodworking skills, which involve using hand tools on freshly cut wood. I'm meeting Toby Hode and his workhorse, Fleur.
Toby, what an amazing setting.
Yes, it is, yeah.
So tell me, what exactly does a woodsman do?
I produce charcoal for barbecues, for campsites and local shops. That's during the summer. I produce furniture, and in the winter it's more getting out, doing the felling. I sell logs locally as well for firewood.
Now I can see Fleur in the background there, so does she actually help you transport the logs around?
Yes, she does. Every single log I sell as chopped logs or furniture or any timber. I haven't got a tractor. I don't use any sort of mechanical machinery here at all.
Why is that?
With Fleur, I can weave in and out of the trees. She has, minimal damage on the woodland floor, and she's good company as well.
Are we able to see her in action
Of
today?
course. Good girl.
Fleur is a Comtois, a French breed of horse especially suited to logging because of its broad shoulders and stocky legs.
Toby, it's the power. I mean, she's trying to break out into a trot already.
She is a little bit. We're going uphill, but it's the first pull of the day. She's really eager to work.
Toby is taking me to his woodland workshop to get a lesson in greenwood furniture making. He's finishing off a bench made out of freshly fallen soft wood.
So can you work with it straight away?
I work the wood green using hand tools to shape it.
So it's easier, is
it's
it?
easier. Because I've got no electricity here, obviously, being a woodland workshop. I wouldn't be able to work with any seasoned wood because you'd need power tools to then actually get through that hard wood.
The bench needs an armrest, so Toby cuts a piece of oak to the correct size.
So what we're going to do is try and split it straight down the middle.
Right.
And we're going to do that by positioning the froe, which is a splitting axe. Through that, the piece of wood will split straight down the middle. Yeah, and there we go. Okay, the next thing we're going to do now, this is a right-handed side axe. You can see that it's got a bevel on the right-hand side and completely flat on the left-hand side. So again, very ancient tool, designed specifically for this job.
The side axe enables Toby to craft the piece of wood to the rough shape of the armrest before moving on to the shave horse to smooth the edges.
Would this date back hundreds of years?
Yeah, indeed. The old Bodgers and the Chiltern Hills used these. I'll just show you how it works. It's actually a clamping device. So you push with your feet and you hold the piece of wood in place like that, and then you use something called a draw knife, which does look really dangerous because you're pulling it towards you. But believe it or not, your shoulders and your elbows stop you from pulling it into your body, which you'll soon see. But I'm just going to ask you to sort of take the bark off with the draw knife. That'd be great help. That's good.
And then I bring it towards me.
Yeah, exactly that. So that's it. Perfect.
Despite Toby's reassurance, my care in using the draw knife means we'll probably be here all day. So it's over to the expert to smooth it down.
What's taken me quite a few minutes, it takes you seconds.
The final touch is to smooth off the ends using a rounder, effectively a giant pencil sharpener.
You're so quick, but literally a few minutes ago, it looked like that.
Yeah, now we've got ourselves an armrest. Yeah. It looks like it can do with being fitted now, I think.
That
Excellent.
Is a good fit.
Nice tight fit. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Very good.
The proof is in the seating. So may I?
There we go, Nikki.
Let's see how we get on. Oh, and very nice it is too.
Is that comfortable?
Cup of tea?
Yes.
Admiring the woodland?
It can be arranged.
I'll be very happy. Toby, thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
Well, it's been delightful showing David and Tracy around Dorset, and they've been so enthusiastic and positive about all our properties, especially the Mystery House. So let's find out what their next move is going to be. So we've had a fabulous couple of days. We've seen, well, quite different types of properties, haven't we, David and Tracy? But you're quite difficult to read. Now, normally when I think that, it's because people are giving anything away, but you've actually been very encouraging about all the properties that we've shown you.
I think we both agree that we liked houses 1 and 3 in particular, and they are ones that we will definitely go away and discuss with the possibility to coming back and viewing. There are elements of both of those houses. I mean, you could see how emotional. There's the, I'd love that who doesn't love that chocolate box style housing with the roses and the colouring and the styling of that house was absolutely fantastic. But equally, I was quite enamoured with the first house, particularly the openness, the space. Loved that big room as well.
Is there preference over those two properties?
Well, surprisingly, I think the preference would probably be on the third house.
The mystery?
The mystery house, yes. Because it does seem to be quite an amazing house for what it is.
Who would have thought we'd look at a thatched house?
Yeah, it's unbelievable, really.
What do you think you're going to take away from the last few days, this experience?
One of the overriding things is that we know for sure that this house needs to be right, not just for now, not just for next year or the next couple of years, but for the rest of our lives.
Of course, yeah.
But we do have to think about things like closeness to shops and towns and whether that's a priority, etc. There's no doubt about it, Dorset is
we've learnt a lot.
an amazing county. We
Good.
can't wait to be down here, and thank you for the experience.
Well, you're welcome. We've been thrilled to show you just a small taste of it, but it's certainly whetted your appetite. Thank you.
Thank you very much
Nicola.
indeed.
Thank you.
Well, what has become evident is that David and Tracy's budget is realistic for their needs. Their passion for Dorset certainly hasn't diminished, and this whole experience will hopefully broaden their minds to all architectural styles. Join me again on Escape to the Country.
David and Tracy decided the rural locations of our first and third houses were too remote for them and have since made an offer on a property in the small coastal town of Highcliffe, East Dorset. If you'd like to escape to the country in Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, England, or perhaps even further afield to the continent and would like our help, you can apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.
Hãy subscribe cho kênh Ghiền Mì Gõ để không bỏ lỡ सेटिंग गइल रही मार्केटिंग पता न रहे हो जाई सेटिंग गलती से अखिया हमर लड़ गइल बारे भौजी गलती से अखिया हमर लड़ गइल बारे भौजी लड़का एगो पीछे हमारा पड़ गइल बारे भौजी लड़का एगो पीछे हमारा पड़ गइल बारे भौजी दो दिन से पीछा हमार और तुम करे मिले के मनवा भौजी हमर हुन करे भौजी 2 दिन से पीछा उकर मिले के मनवा हमर करे 2 दिन से पीछा हमार और तुम करे मिले के मनवा भौजी हमरो करे धीरे धीरे बतिया दिल के बढ़ गइल बारे भौजी धीरे धीरे बतिया दिल के बढ़ गइल बारे भौजी लड़का एगो पीछे हमारा पड़ गइल बारे भौजी लड़का एगो पीछे हमारा पड़ गइल बारे भौजी ऐसन न देखली अबले हम तो दीवाना गली में चालू भइल ओकर आना जाना भौजी रे ऐसन न देखली दीवाना चालू भइल गली में आना जाना ऐसन न देखली अबले हम तो दीवाना गली में चालू भइल ओकरा नचाना प्यार परवान ओकर चढ़ गइल बारे भौजी प्यार परवान ओकर चढ़ गइल बारे भौजी लड़का एगो पीछे हमारा पड़ गइल बारे भौजी लड़का एगो पीछे हमारा पड़ गइल बारे भौजी निकली जब बहराओ तो पीछे पीछे आवे कागज पर लिख के नाम तो गिरावे निकली बहराओ पीछे पीछे आवे कागज पर नाम लिख के गिरावे निकली जब बहराओ पीछे पीछे आवे कागज पर लिख के नाम दीपक के सूरत नजरी में चढ़ गइल बारे भौजी सुंदर के सूरत नजरी में चढ़ गइल बारे भौजी लड़का एगो पीछे हमारा पड़ 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 गइल